We're going to have a good time. I had something entirely different to talk about that my rational plan, and I started to write it, and it was going to be a promising thing. And then all of a sudden, the started thing just showed up and said, no, talk about this. And I went, oh, here we go. All right. So, whoa, this was the message that wanted to come out. You're all familiar with the four Gospels, right? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And you know that the first three are pretty similar, sometimes called the synoptic Gospels. They see things the same way. They tell the same stories, tons of parallels. And then there's John. And John is just different. John was the last of the four Gospels to be written. Maybe as early as 80 or 90, but more likely into the beginning of the 2nd century. We don't know exactly who the author was, and it's definitely the most mystical of the Gospels, the most Gnostic. Even the beginning of John, I mean, the other Gospels are busy, with the Christmas story or a nice genealogy, and John starts, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Generations of Christians have read that line and go, what does that mean? Okay, so John tells us things, but we have to work a little bit to figure it out. The Gospel of John is the one of the four where we meet an unnamed disciple. The only reference we get to this person is, this is the disciple whom Jesus loves. That's all we know. They're clearly an important person to Jesus because this person shows up at the Last Supper, at the crucifixion, on resurrection morning, and in the beach scene with the 153 fishes at the end of the Gospel of John. Scholars have debated this unnamed disciple's identity for years. I thought this morning we would just dive into this, see what this debate is all about. And of course, to really dig into it, we're going to have to look at the original text, which is in Greek. But don't panic. Keep the Greek under control, okay? But Roy will be happy. Okay, so Kathy just read for you the crucifixion appearance of this disciple whom Jesus loves. It went like this. Meanwhile, standing near the cross of Jesus were his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. Now, it is a little ambiguous. You don't know whether Mary, the wife of Clopas, is his mother's sister, in which case there are three women. Or that's two different women, and then there are four. But for sure, Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene are there at the foot of the cross. When Jesus saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing beside her, he said to his mother, "Woman, here is your son." And he said to the disciple, "Here is your mother." And from that hour, the disciple took her into his own home. Okay. Where in this crucifixion scene of the male disciples, the 12 minus 1, Judas is scarce at this point. Where are they?
They're hiding.
They're hiding. Why are they hiding?
Right.
You better believe it. They really do not want to attract the attention of the Roman authorities. They don't want to be identified as followers of this Galilean rabble-rouser who's being crucified. And so they're hiding out. Peter shows up early in the morning on Friday in Pilate's courtyard. And somebody recognizes him, and he denies Jesus 3 times before the cock crows twice, right? But that's it. We really don't hear from them until Easter morning. But the women are safe, they're thinking, right? Nobody expects them to be any threat to the Roman order. They're mourning as women are wont to do. Sometimes it's useful to be a woman. You just get underestimated, and then people move on. I was going to get a t-shirt. This is a total squirrel. I saw this t-shirt. I was so tempted to get it. It said, "Go ahead, underestimate me. That'll be fun." I didn't. Okay, so now keep in mind the Gospel of Philip that Peggy read, where Mary Magdalene is the companion of Jesus, and he loved her more than all the disciples. And if you read just the beginning of that John passage, standing near the cross of Jesus were his mother's sister Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing beside her, it's really pretty unambiguous. He's talking about Mary Magdalene, right? I mean, she's there, but she's on the list. He loves her because Philip tells us so. It's pretty straightforward. And there aren't any male disciples around anyway. Yeah, so that's not hard. That's not a difficult thing. The problem comes with the next phrase. He said to his mother, "Woman, here is your son." Now, hey, there aren't any men standing with them, are there? They didn't mention any men. "Woman, here is your son." We're confused. Okay, so now it's when we need to be. So the first thing we do is go look up, your hand in Greek New Testament that every seminary student carries around, at least for the semesters that they take in Greek. And we look up this line in John, and it says, "Unai," which means woman, "Unai ide ho ios su." Here is the eos of you, of your eos. What does eos mean? Look at the dictionary in the back. You can never get through this without the dictionary in the back. And it says, eos, son. Okay, that is absolutely the first definition of this word. The thing is, it's not the only choice for the translator. Listen to the other ones. our situation is it's your yours. One who shares a special relationship with, or a likeness to someone or something, a disciple, a follower. Eos gets used for a lot more than the literal male offspring of someone. It's not. So what would happen if we considered other translations like woman, here is your follower. Woman, here is your offspring. Woman, here is your one who shares a special relationship. You can tell what Jesus is trying to do. He wants to connect these two important women in his life. He's telling them to take care of each other. Kind of a Naomi Ruth thing, when the men die, the women have only each other to take. He's trying to make sure that they both know that he expects them to take care of each other. The English version is further confused by the line, and from that hour the disciple took her into his own home. Because we're continuing this idea that Eos is son. The thing is, in Greek, the words for own home is actually an idiomatic phrase, ta idea, and it means one's own home. It's no gender assumed in that phrase. The fact that we get it as his own home is courtesy of the translator. Took Eos to son, and therefore own home must be his home. Yeah. But that's not what the Greek supports. The Greek doesn't make that distinction. It makes so much sense in a story about actual people that Jesus' mother and father would have been drawn together in their shared sorrow at this point, which is exactly what the sculptor is trying to get at in the picture that's on the inside of your building. That's the three-person theater that's at Sands in Paris, and the lighting is terrible. The lighting is terrible in the church, so of course the pictures are not very well. But it's essentially Mother Mary with Jesus in her lap and a comforting arm around Mary Magdalene. It's a family unit, basically. And both of the women are mourning. But for a couple thousand years, scholars have been looking for an unnamed male disciple whom Jesus loved, who would have been brave enough to show his face at the crucifixion, but is standing with the women. Well, it's no wonder they can't find the guy, because there isn't one. However, they have been loath to come to the conclusion that it's Mary Magdalene. And that's an interesting tale also. Because if the unnamed disciple is Mary Magdalene, it means that she would have been at the table of the Last Supper. John 13:23 says, one of his disciples, the one whom Jesus loved, was reclining close to his heart. Of course, since she was his companion, perfectly reasonable she would have been there. And every once in a while you get these really interesting clues. I printed out for you this morning, but I'm going to send it around the circle. A picture of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper mural. Look at the figure that's on Jesus' right in this picture. And see if you don't think she's very likely a woman. Sometimes we get clues hidden in plain sight. you ask the average person who's been thankful in the Last Supper, you like you lost your mind. Look at the disciples. So an interesting question to ask ourselves is, why did the author of the Gospel of John take such pains not to attach a name to the disciple whom Jesus loved? It's really an important person in the drama of that whole holy. In some ways, it's further evidence that it's Mary Magdalene, because had it been a man, he would have just said who it was. There was really no reason to be so coy about the identity. But we can ponder this during talkback, and you have a theory about why they needed to hide the fact that it was a woman. And then we can step back and ask a larger question. Why does it matter? Why does it matter that we think about Mary Magdalene being present even though she's not acknowledged in the Bible stories we know so well? And one short answer is balance. When you put the Magdalene at Jesus' side, you get balance. You get male and female. You get logos and Sophia, reason and wisdom, divine masculine and divine feminine. Together, this is a whole you. Patriarchy has tried hard over the years to have us believe that it's enough to be made. And patriarchy has given us a Christianity as a result that is really quite out of balance. All systems, whether they're in nature, whether wherever they seek balance, because if the pendulum swings too far, the system's not stable and it comes apart. So the divine feminine keeps showing up in various different ways, trying to get the pendulum back toward the middle, trying to get the world back in balance. So now that you're completely shocked, tell me what you think about this idea that the unnamed disciple whom Jesus loves is referring to Mary Magdalene. Oh,